Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on when you are watching this video. Thanks for tuning in. Got three main things that I want to chat with you about today, and I want to throw a fantastic offer out there at the end of this video. So stay tuned for that. The first thing that I wanted to touch on, and I have another video that I had published previously in regard to this topic, but I wanted to expand on this a little bit and just share some thoughts. So, when it comes to delinquent accounts on your credit report, and I don't mean delinquent in the sense that maybe an account is currently 30 days past due or it recently had maybe a 30-day late payment, but I'm talking about accounts that would typically be called a collection account. So somebody owed money to someone and they completely stopped making payments on that, and 90 to 120 days transpired, and it basically then became a delinquent closed account with an outstanding indebtedness owed to the original creditor. So a couple of things that I want to share in regard to these types of accounts that are critically important to be aware of, depending on what your situation is, why you may now be aware of these accounts, or an account in your credit profile. So, depending on the reason that you're trying to maybe get this cleared up, or get it taken care of, there are some key things to be aware of. So, number one, there is a huge misconception out there amongst just the general population that an account that is referred to as a charge off is an account that the original creditor has written off. And that is, in 99.9% of cases, not the case. A charge off is essentially the same as a collection account, but if it is considered a charge off, the original creditor is still the entity that is wanting to collect the money that is owed. They have not yet transferred it or sold it or consigned it to a collection agency. So, in many, many, many conversations that I have had over the years, where someone has an account that is labeled as a charge off, they are under the impression that the company has given up on this and in 7 years it's going to drop off of their credit report. Well, there's a little variable that you need to be aware of, and that is very simply, if the creditor continues updating to the credit bureaus that this money is owed to them, every time they push that update to the credit bureaus, which in most cases is going to be monthly, but some companies in this type of a category of a debt, that might be quarterly, it might be semi-annually. I've even seen instances where once a year the company goes ahead and just updates the credit bureaus that, hey, John Smith or Mary Smith still owes us $600 for this old bill, whatever that may have been. Well, every time the creditor does that update to the credit agencies, the 7-year clock starts ticking all over again. So, where the 7-year rule comes into play in regard to an account falling off of someone's credit report is once typically the account is paid in full and satisfied. Now, whether it's settled, whether it's negotiated, whether the total dollar amount is paid is not the part of this that I want to focus on. The bottom line is, once money comes into that creditor and you and they are in an agreement that, okay, for X amount of dollars by a given day, this account will be considered satisfied and paid in full. And again, whether it was paid in full for the dollar amount owed or whether you agreed on a reduced amount for total payment in full today is kind of irrelevant here. But the bottom line is, once they go ahead and update the credit bureaus that this account is now paid and the balance is $0, well, from that point forward, they typically are not going to be reporting any new data on that account to the credit bureaus, because once that final update is in that the account is paid in full, there's no reason for them to report information to the bureaus anymore. So in that capacity, in 7 years, that account will now fall off of a consumer's credit report. But if they still owe them money, and every month or every quarter, that creditor is essentially updating the bureaus, and now there is a new update date on that account in the system of the credit agencies, that 7 year clock starts ticking over. And in that regard, if you have a bad debt out there that you're just hoping is going to just go away or fall off your credit in 2 more years or 3 more years, you need to pay very close attention to whether or not the creditor that you owe that money to is still updating the credit bureaus. So if you were to log into, your a Credit Karma account or any other credit monitoring platform, or if you pull down a copy of your, credit report on an annual basis from any of the main bureaus, you need to look at what the date last reported was from that creditor. And if that is current, please realize that you still now have 7 years to go. And if they continue reporting that you owe them that money, it's never, in most cases, going to just magically fall off your credit. So a charge off, again, is a past due delinquent account where a chunk of money is owed to a given creditor. But if you were to call to satisfy that debt, you are still reaching out to the original creditor. When it becomes a collection account is when that creditor has decided, we are no longer interested in trying to pursue the collection of this debt, and we're going to assign it, sell it, transfer it. There's different ways and agreements that one company may have with another regarding, moving money to a collection agency. But once it becomes a collection account, then in order to satisfy the debt, you are no longer calling the original creditor. You are working with the credit collection agency. So the same concept, though, does apply here, in that if it is now a collection account and that collection agency each month is updating the credit bureaus that, hey, Mary Smith or John Smith or whomever owes us $900 from, whether it was a hospital or a credit card company or Comcast or Spectrum or Verizon, whomever it may be, if that's being updated on a monthly basis, then it is still going to remain on your credit report. And the component here, whether it's $50 or whether it's $5,000, having a collection or a charge-off account on your credit profile is always going to be suppressing your credit score. So you could have, in terms of how do I want to word this, let's say you could have the perfect credit profile, the perfect payment history, the perfect balance of installment debts versus revolving credit card accounts, the perfect reported outstanding balance on a credit card relative to the credit limit, known as the utilization ratio. You could have an absolutely flawless, perfect credit profile that would allow you to generate, let's say, 850, perfect credit score in the world of most credit related scenarios. But if you have one collection account sitting out there on your credit report, it is going to keep you from being at that 850 level. It might be suppressing your score 50 points, it might be 100 points, it might be 150 points. It's hard to say because each different profile is a little unique to itself. But the point is that being out there is always going to be holding you back from where your credit score could be. Now, let's say you're in the pursuit of borrowing money, whether that is for a home loan or whether it's going to be a new big auto purchase or anything else where you're going into borrowing a large sum of money and you want to optimize your credit score before you would go and make application with that lender to ensure the best opportunity to be approved, and in the pursuit of trying to secure the best terms that you can achieve as far as the financing itself. What you need to understand and be aware of is that when it comes to something like a charge-off or a collection account, there's another element in the data within a trade line on the credit report. And that is very simply the date of last activity. So while earlier we were talking about the date last reported, so date last reported is when the creditor notifies the credit agencies that this money is owed by a given individual to them. That's the date last reported. So if they're doing that monthly, every month when you pull a credit report, you're going to see that, oh, last month they reported that you owe this money. But the date of last activity is the last time there was any activity on that account. So if you are in a situation where you have time on your side going forward, and whether that's 3 months or 6 months or 9 months, again, every case is going to be a little bit circumstantial, but going and getting in touch with the creditor for a charge off or the collection agency for a collection account and working to get that negotiated, paid in full, whatever your pursuit or desire is there, to get that account resolved to where it is a zero balance and it's closed and satisfied is a great thing to do. However, if it's an account that has been sitting on your credit report for a few years and the date of last activity is, let's say, 3 years ago, the impact that that account is having to your credit score is going to be less than if that account is a newer account that's, let's say, a year old or 18 months old or only 6 months old. The newer the account in a broad sense here, or the more current that a delinquent account shows up on your credit, the greater impact it's going to have onto your score. So as time goes by, while it's always going to be holding you back to some degree, as it gets older, it's going to be holding you back a little bit less than if it was newer. But the reason I'm clarifying that is because when you go and get that account satisfied and paid in full, there is now a date of last activity that is in this current month or the month in which you paid the account. So when that creditor reports to the agencies that it is a zero balance, it also now is triggering that the date of last activity was right now. And since it is a derogatory account by nature in terms of the coding in the credit algorithm system, paying that account in full could lead to a short-term or a temporary dip in your credit score, simply because it is a derogatory account that now it's been kind of woken up in the sense that it has a date of last activity that's now recent. Now, even though the activity was a positive activity to pay the account and bring it to a zero balance, it could lead to a temporary drop in your credit score. Now, long term, you are going to quickly recover from that if everything else is being paid as agreed and on time and everything else is good in your credit profile. But with that being said, if you're looking for an immediate boost to your credit score for something that you have upcoming in the very near term, what you can strive to do to see if the creditor would be willing to do this is to, in your negotiation with them, and even if it's a case of, look, I know that I owe you $500, I'm not looking to settle for less than that, I simply want to get this paid and cleared off of my credit. In exchange for payment in full today, will you, Mr. Creditor, delete this account from my credit profile as opposed to simply updating it to show that it's a zero balance? If the creditor would agree to delete the account in exchange for you satisfying the account, it literally is deleted from your credit profile. So there is no record of that derogatory account ever having existed on your credit report. And from the standpoint of what that can do for your credit score, now you would likely see that very immediate boost in terms of whatever that jump is going to be on your credit report. So I hope you found that information valuable. If you ever have any questions or you have a scenario you'd like to discuss, feel free to reach out, drop a comment below. If you have a broader question tying in with this topic, let me know what that is in the comments below, and I would be more than happy to go ahead and see if I can address that and just share that information for the benefit of everyone that may be watching this video. So with that being said, I wanted to jump on to my second item here, which very quickly, I am looking for feedback and input from you as to what types of topics and information you would like to see through this channel. I can talk about credit, credit scores, credit score optimization, debt reduction strategies. There's lots of things that I could talk about for hours and hours and hours and drop a new video every week in the same general space and tone. But if there's anything outside of that specific arena that you would like to learn more about, please drop a comment down below and I would be more than happy to see what I can do to share some information for you in regard to that suggestion if it is a topic where I have the knowledge to be able to create a video for it. So please engage as much as you would like. Share your thoughts, share your ideas. If you have any questions tied to this video or any prior videos or anything else that maybe hasn't even been discussed yet, please go ahead and comment down below. Leads me to item number 3, which I am going to be sharing a coupon code, and it is going to be down in the description box below. This coupon code is going to be good for 75% off of my online video-based and self-paced financial literacy 101 course. I spent over a year creating the content for this course in terms of the materials, in terms of the PowerPoint presentation, the recording of the videos, getting these hosted online. And I did this in the pursuit of getting useful, meaningful, and possibly life-altering need-to-know information into the minds of ideally 18 to 24-year-olds. I built this course to allow you as an individual that is getting ready to get out there and start life on your own to be aware of key, certain, important things relative to your overall money management in your household and credit and a variety of other topics to allow you to basically start off on the right foot. Over my 1 month away from 29 years in the residential lending space, I have had hundreds and hundreds of conversations with potential clients that I wasn't able to give them the answer that they wanted at that moment in time. And in many instances, it was simply because they didn't realize this or they didn't realize that. And it could be, you know, as something as simple as the importance of making a minimum payment on a credit card in a timely manner to not destroy your credit report from missed payments or late payments, both from the way that looks to an underwriter and from the standpoint of your overall credit score. So while I have my all-inclusive course, there's no ongoing monthly fees or subscription fees. I didn't want, since the name of the course is Live Better Financially 101, the last thing I wanted to do was build out content that's going to require you to add another expense into your life. So there is a 4-pay option or a 1-pay option. I have the course priced ridiculously affordably for the amount of content that is shared within that course. And even just 1 or 2 little items that you will obtain by going through that course could save you thousands and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars over the course of your lifetime. But with that being said, this is not something that I am looking to retire on or become the next Tony Robbins on. I built this course out of like this compelling passion to want to allow younger people to have the ability to get information that they typically are not going to be taught through traditional schooling methods. Now, I know here in the state of Florida, there is a new requirement for some basic level of financial literacy in order to graduate. I'm not sure what's going on in other states right now. I don't know here in Florida how extensive that is, how many course hours that is, but with my course, it is almost 13 hours of content bundled into 12 modules that you can work through at your own pace. And I want this information in the minds of the people that need it to help them as much as possible when they are getting started in life. So I'm going to share a 75% off coupon that is going to be good for the next 30 days. And if you are a younger person in the 18 to 26-year-old range, or if you are watching this and you have a family member in that age range, I highly encourage you to take advantage of this 75% off coupon and dive in and embrace this course and learn all the little things that you probably don't know that really can help you long term once you get out there and you're living on your own and you're working in your first job and you're living in your first place. Make it a great day out there. Check out the info in the description below. Take advantage of this offer while it's available, and I'll look forward to seeing you in future videos. This is Matt, the Fish and Finance Guy, checking out for now. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this content, and I'll look forward to all of your feedback down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and if there's anyone that you know that could benefit from this information, please go ahead and share the video with them as well, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks again. Well, hey there, if you are still with me, I am truly hoping you enjoyed the content in this video, and if you would like to see future videos with new topics as they become available on my channel, go ahead and like, subscribe, and if you have any younger family members or friends within your family network or circle of friends that are in that 18 to 26-year-old age range, please share this video with them and invite them to check out my online video-based and self-paced Financial Literacy 101 course. You can access that through the website listed on the screen right now, or for simplicity, you could also visit lbf101.com. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you in future videos. And if there are any topics or content ideas that you would like to see me address in future videos, go ahead and comment down below, and I'd be more than happy to see if I could address your questions or ideas for the benefit of everyone. Make it a great day, and we'll see you again.